One of them bit me. The bastard took a chunk out of my upper arm. The fool probably didn't even know it was an arm. He probably saw me as a walking turkey leg or something. Oh, but he got his dues. I whacked his useless head off with a crowbar I stole when shit got serious. It got serious about a month ago, and let me tell you, it happened just the way everyone thought it would happen. Some contained little outbreak, then boom, everyone I know is staggering around like kangaroos tripping on dextro. Not me, though. I knew I was going to fight it. I did well until about a week ago when Mr. Slobbermouth munched on my bicep. It amazes even me that I'm so coherent. God, I wish I wasn't. I'm not like them, but I'm just like them. I have the hunger they have, but I have all the guilt and love of humanity that is going to keep me from surviving. I'm not even sure that I want to survive anymore. I see them do horrible things that are starting to drive me mad, and I either get sick to my stomach or find my mouth watering. I don't want to live if living means I have to watch the destruction of my kind every day. But then, this means no more hiding. It's as if they can sense something in me, like they scan for a zombie membership card and find it on me. They leave me alone. I can walk freely among them. You know how I said I'm just like them? Well, I'm better than them. I'm smarter and have the ability to gain the trust of humans. I found one yesterday. I know where all the good hiding spots are, you see, and Lord, was it happy to see me. It grasped my arm and looked into my eyes, saying it was happy to have found someone to fight with. Making sure none of the no-brains were around, I took it with me and hid with it in a storm cellar. I let it fall asleep. Then I broke its neck, busted open its head like a coconut, and tore into its meaty brain. The blood complemented it nicely. For a few moments I felt bad for what I had done. I saw his body in that stagnant pool of blood, looking as if he was still sleeping, and felt some remorse for the poor, trusting boy. I wondered about his life before the disaster. Was he happy? Did his family love him? Would he have survived anyway? That acidic guilt rose in me, a constant reminder of my humanity. But there's at least one thing zombies and humans have in common: the will to survive. And I'm about to do a much better job than either one of them will. In 1984, there lived an old widowed lady by herself in a 2-story house who was completely immobile and bound to her wheelchair. Ever since the mysterious death of her husband, she required the aid of a carer who would visit her daily to help her with everyday tasks. What made it even more difficult was the fact that the 2 floors of the house were only connected by an old staircase inside. When the old lady needed to move between the 2, the carer would have to carry her frail body like an infant up and down the stairs. One day the police received a call from the widow. There had been a murder, since police units were scarce at the time, and the murderer had already fled the scene. Only one detective was sent out to conduct the initial crime scene report. He arrived to see the carer's body splayed out on the floor with her vocal cords ripped out in a pool of blood on the first level of the house, with the old lady atop the staircase in her wheelchair watching him, still and silently, seemingly in shock. He could immediately rule her out as a suspect, due to her inability to move up and down the stairs, and because she was trapped up there at the time the murder took place. It was similar to the death of her husband many years ago, who had suffocated in his sleep on the couch downstairs. The detective put on his gloves, took photos, swabbed for evidence, and covered the body until the coroner arrived later, all routine business. He scoped the house downstairs for any clues, then asked the old lady if he could look upstairs. She insisted that she was upstairs the whole time and no one apart from her had been up there that day, but regardless of this, the detective ascended the staircase, to which she hesitantly moved aside. Beyond the staircase, there was a narrow corridor with 3 closed doors along it. He checked behind each of the doors: the empty bedroom, nothing; the bathroom, nothing. He became anxious as he slowly made his way to the final bedroom where the old lady slept. He opened it, and everything looked normal. A bed, a wardrobe, and a bedside table with a lamp. He checked every wall of the room in horror, as it was not what he discovered. but it was what he didn't discover that made him stop dead in his tracks and slowly reach for his gun in its holster. It was a detail so minor that they had completely overlooked it on the last investigation of the husband's death. There was no phone upstairs. He suddenly heard a noise as he withdrew his gun and rushed out of the room, only to find an empty wheelchair atop the stairs. I watched, unable to muster the courage to jump in after her, as my sister fell down the cliff edge. My voice was hoarse from shouting her name, and I saw that her body was submerged in the water. I was screaming for help, for anyone to come and make it stop, to end the nightmare. The picture in my head of her, finally surfacing on the water, unmoving, haunted me. Her long, black hair lay in a waterfall of seaweed. My mind was numb. I was numb. The whole world around me was just a distant noise in my ear as I focused on nothing but her, lying there as the ambulance men appeared over the beach. She couldn't be saved. I stood on the cliff edge, watching the scene unfold. I woke up. I've had that recurring nightmare for a year now, a year since she died. You'd think it might get better, but not in my case. She comes every night. Every night, without fail. Some nights, she just sits on the end of my bed, humming softly as her black hair floats in wisps around her face. Others, she is sitting on the chair next to me, silent, facing away from me. The most terrifying is when I wake up with a crushing pressure on my chest and find her sitting on my legs, pinning me down. I never see her face. At first she was just a faint glow, and it was comforting, but each day her figure got stronger and the vivid colors of her hair and dress became easier to see. She is almost complete now, just one more night and she will look like my sister again. Tomorrow, it is the anniversary of her death. Tomorrow, I might see her face. When I woke up, the morning sun penetrated my curtains, and I got up. I walked down to my sister's grave and placed a bunch of lilies on the gravestone. They were always her favorite. I got into bed and drifted off to sleep. As usual, I was awoken at 3 o'clock by a glow I could see through my eyelids. Opening my eyes, I saw my sister standing at the edge of the bed, facing me. Her eyes were sunken and her lips were cracked from the salt water, although strangely I felt comforted. She never spoke, just led me the path out of the front door to the cliff edge. Her intentions only became clear once she grabbed hold of my arms. My eyes filled with fear as she jumped, pulling me with her. I hit the side of the rocks multiple times and fell into the water, paralyzed. The surface drifted away above my head as her shiny black hair enveloped my body. It was quite peaceful, actually. After all, we all die in the end.